Hello traders, welcome back to the Forex Trading Channel. My name is Greg and today I have for you my top 5 for February 2019. So in at number 5 we have the Wall Street 30, the US 30. As you can see here, we've had this strong bullish move off of this level, no structure in between. And we've started to base in here with some structure, and you can see we've already had some buying pressure here, some buying pressure, buying pressure, buying pressure, all of these accumulating stops underneath this level. And you'll see here as well, we've got this little level here just underneath. Obviously next logical place for stops will be all the way down here. As we all know, very few retail traders like to position themselves this far away from the action, and as you well know, they'll all be positioning their stops underneath this level. So if we just push over to the right, we can see here we've accumulated some more stops before pushing lower, just dipping off this level here, which would have cleared out the majority of these stops before pushing along. And depending on what type of trader you are, how aggressive you are or conservative, there was a couple of entry options here. You could have waited till it pushed above this level and retested it in the top of this candle here, or for the aggressive traders, they could have entered here. You've got this nice reversal here, this little pin bar. We've pushed below the low, indicating that we might go lower in real time. That would have looked very bearish, and it's obviously flipped. We didn't close higher, but nonetheless that's still a very bullish sign. So you could have got in once this candle pushed above the highs. Obviously nice tight stop, and depending on how you trade, you might have been looking to chase this higher, you might have been looking for a retest of the highs, but certainly even if you were looking for a retest of the highs, I mean 3 to 1, you're out in no time. Retest of the highs didn't take much longer, and we actually did ride up a fair way on this one. Had you have held it, you could have potentially taken home a reasonable risk to reward. And in a number 4, we're on the US dollar Japanese yen on the 15-minute chart here. As you can see, we've pushed off these lows here with a very slight pullback, and then we've put in a new high, and then we've just decided to go sideways. So grab a little box and we draw it across here. You can see essentially we are just kind of bouncing around here. You call this accumulation, phrase it how you will. We all know that retail traders will be positioning themselves under this level with an aim to riding this higher. Next logical place for stops, well, potentially down here. Obviously here or here being the safest options, and generally that is too far away from the action for most retail traders. And what have we done? Well, we've actually blown straight through this level. We've had a nice pullback. I can guarantee you there's a fib in there, so if we just draw this from here to here, yep, we've bounced off the 50, so this breakout here would have encouraged all the breakout traders. This retracement to the 50 here would have encouraged all the retracement traders, and there's even been a little retest here, so you can guarantee that they're all jumping in along there, and the majority of their stops will be just above this level. And we pop back down. We did push below this level slightly, but if you look to the left, we actually just bounced off this little level here. So all these guys, all their stops are gone, all these stops are gone. We push back up. Now this actually did go sideways for a period of time, as you can see. We did bounce around for a little while longer, but then it certainly did take off. A few options to get involved. You could have waited to come back into this level. There was a couple of opportunities within here, certainly after this second pop down and push back up. Multiple opportunities to get involved. Likewise, if you missed an entry here, you could have got involved. Any number of candles along this way. I think I was involved. I got in around about here. So stops below the low, 28 points. If you're shooting for 2-to-1s, retest of the highs. Obviously, a retest of the highs here. It was such a narrow channel; it wasn't very big. There was certainly some Japanese weakness, so I was shooting for an extended target on this one, and it did take off considerably. I think I was out at a 4-to-1. As you can see, we did push higher, and recently we did go sideways before pushing higher once again. If you were still in the position, then congrats to you. It's now sitting at an 8-to-1. And in at number 3, we're on the German 30, the DAX, on the 15-minute chart. You can see here we've had this strong bullish move up. Little to no structure in between. There's a tiny little spot here. It's just a brief pause. And we've started to base in with some structure here. And obviously, given the distance, most logical place for stops down here. Retail traders like to be as close to the action as possible, so they're all positioning their stops here with the aim of following this higher. Now this is actually quite a shallow stop, very shallow stop indeed. You can see here we've started to push up, come back down, and we've just pipped below all these lows down to here before reversing and taking off. A couple of opportunities to get involved. Could have waited till it pulled back up through this level. Indeed, could have waited until it retested this level. For those of you brave enough, there's quite a nice little entry here. This candle pushed down and then started to flip. Didn't flip as much as I would have liked. However, it was still a valid entry. Now on a higher time frame, this had plenty of juice to run, so I actually got out, I think it was a 4-to-1 on this one, and as you can see, we hit that on no time at all, and the thing actually did carry on and start rallying higher. Now, as a bonus on this pair, and I'll include it on this pair, there is actually another stop hunt a little bit higher. Unfortunately, this is a beast of a stop hunt. It wasn't one I was able to get involved with, but I will share it with you guys as a freebie, and it is just here. Now, this is a well-defined stop hunt. Obviously, we pushed off of this previous stop hunt, started to put in some nice upward moves, and then we just kind of started to bounce around back down into this level multiple times. Little area where you could have hidden stops just down here, but the majority of people will be placing themselves as close as they can once again to the action, and they will all be under here again here, trying to jump in, ride this thing higher, and what do? Bang, pop right down here, creamed all of these stops, and then the thing absolutely took off. Like I said, unfortunately I missed this entry. However, there were a few opportunities to get involved. Even if you waited for it to clear the level, it would have still been a valid entry for me. And just to give you an idea of its acceleration, We hit 3 to 1 in a very short period of time. And in at number 2, we're on the New Zealand dollar Japanese yen. As you can see here, we've had this strong move off this level. This being the ideal place for stops if you're feeling a little bit braver here. But as you can guess, this distance is too great for the average retail trader. They like to position themselves as close to the action as possible so they can leverage as much as possible. Now this little fella's pretty deep, but he didn't pierce here, so we're all good. And we all know that there's potentially quite a lot of stops sitting under this level. Everyone's got their eyes fixated on this, hoping to jump on this and ride this long. We do start to push up, and we do push up a reasonable amount. And obviously everyone starts getting excited that this thing is going to take off. More people jumping in, more stops, more stops, more stops. More liquidity for the bank. What happens? Boom. You've got all the breakout traders jumping in. They're all short in this thing. Immediately reverses, starts to go long. Couple of opportunities to get involved. You could have got involved when it broke back into this level. Well, this is a perfect little entry here. If you're unsure about the market's intentions, you've got this nice little 15-minute candle that pushed lower, below these lows, and then flipped. If that didn't convince you, could have waited till it broke above the level, retested it from the other side, and then jumped on board. So taking it from here, obviously stops below the low, and depending on how you trade, depending on your targets, there's your 2 to 1 quite rapidly. And you can see here we've just pushed back down, equaled that top, so this may even ride higher. In at number 1, we're on the British pound Japanese yen on the 15-minute chart. You can see here we've just pushed off these lows, and we've put in a couple of nice legs to the upside, and we started to base in with some structure here, taking in all these lows. Obviously this being the pound yen, it's not called the beast for no reason. The distance between here and the action here, well, that's considerable, and I can guarantee you no retail traders will be positioning themselves below this level with the hope of riding this higher. They will definitely all be sitting right under this level here with the aim of catching a few pips and hoping to see this thing roll higher. As you can see, accumulating some more longs, and what do you know, we blow through this level. All the breakout traders, they're all getting excited, and before you know it, it turns around. Now, depending on what type of trader you were or are, plenty of opportunities to get involved. You could have waited for it to break back above the level and retest it from the other side. That's an adequate entry. Or if you're an aggressive trader, you could hit it at the bottom when it starts to reverse, or at least wait for a little bit of confirmation and maybe a few other trade enhancers. I was in relatively early just to break above this candle here, and stops below the low. And this one on the back of some really good Brexit news, with the potential of a soft Brexit, we saw some strength come back into the pound, and in fact most pound pairs rallied. As you can see, oh, let's put that back down there. As you can see, this rallied significantly, and continued to rally all week. Just to give you an idea of the potentials, you can see here we obviously put in some nice new legs, and you could have chased this higher. I actually took multiple trades, multiple positions on this, and it ended up paying out very nicely indeed. So anyway, traders, I hope you enjoyed this top 5 for February 2019. If you did, please don't forget to give it a like, give it a share. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. And as always, don't forget to trade safe, and I'll see you in the next one.